Hello, my name is Francine Maitland, and I am here to talk to you about living with a disability in America today. Ironically, the reason we're doing this video online is because there's a pandemic taking place in the world with COVID-19. I am a 2009 Slippery Rock alum. I am 35 years old, and I have been living as a disabled woman for the last 25 years, since I was 10 years old. If I could tell people just one thing honestly about disability that are non-disabled, it would be that pretty much everything you've seen on film and TV that tells you that a disabled life should be pitied and sad, and most of the movies like The Fault in Our Stars or Me Before You end in the disabled person's death at the end. And as someone with multiple different chronic illnesses, I am a wheelchair user. I do walk short distances. Up to 80% of wheelchair users actually can walk some distance. There's multiple reasons to use one, including chronic fatigue, heart problems, musculoskeletal issues, numerous different things. It's not always just a car accident, but I get strangers come up to me in public all the time and ask what kind of accident was I in. Meanwhile, if I were to actually explain my medical history to them of how I ended up in this situation, they would need a medical degree to understand, and even then my doctors joke that they have the degrees and they don't understand. But I love my life and I wouldn't trade it. It's sometimes difficult and frustrating, especially when I experience access issues. There are times I just want to be able to go out with my friends or to the New Year's Eve party with my husband and not have to worry about needing carried down a flight of steps in my wheelchair just to access a party, which did happen this January. A disabled life is still a great life, and I don't think that people hear that message enough, and it devalues our lives and dehumanizes us because we might need different accommodations and live in different embodiments, mentally and physically, but we are still human and worthwhile and beautiful and valuable. And I think that that bears repeating in the time of the pandemic. If I had to look back and talk a little bit on my experience as a college student with a disability, it was up and down. I fought a lot and advocated on campus for better access and more awareness to disability issues. I didn't want anyone else to have to go through some of the challenges that I was when I was on campus, and even now when I'm out with my husband and I can't get in somewhere, I don't automatically wish that I was different. I wish the place was just accessible so we could just go in together the way that we needed. I think sometimes people think that we're always wishing we were different, but that's not always the case either. And I think those are probably, when I kept thinking about this video, those are what I felt were the most important messages that I wanted to send, is that it is okay to ask questions. If someone doesn't prefer to answer them, it's not your invasive right to know someone's history or the reason for an accommodation or a mobility aid or a service dog. One of my issues is I get short of breath, sorry. So yes, during the time of the pandemic, while we're all staying apart, take this moment to be a little bit empathetic. Step outside yourself. Google some YouTube videos about disability. Follow a new Instagram of someone that's disabled. Rethink person first language and your use of it, maybe. Talk to someone with a disability. Ask them what their favorite color is, what book they've read lately, or what their favorite TV show is. Thank you.
My name's Erin O'Connor. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the graduate assistant for the Women's Center and Pride Center. I'm currently pursuing my master's in student affairs and higher education, and I'm really grateful today to get to talk about, really what has it meant for me to live in America with a disability. Like many others with invisible disabilities, on the outside, I look completely fine. And I've come to learn that this is really both a blessing and a burden. In most social situations, I'm not treated any differently. My workplace, classes, I'm really treated the same. But this has also meant that I'm expected to function at a normal level. And really, this can be really challenging for me because in the winter of 2018, I was diagnosed with narcolepsy without cataplexy. Doctors still don't really have a clear understanding as to why narcolepsy is. They really think that the cells in my body that regulate my sleep cycles are actually being attacked and destroyed. This then leads to me feeling extreme exhaustion. I could sleep for 7 to 8 hours a night, and sometimes I'll wake up feeling like I haven't slept at all, which again can be really challenging to then be expected to function at that normal level throughout the day. I am now on medication to help manage my symptoms and keep me functioning at a somewhat typical level. However, this medication has also been really challenging for me. It's a rather harsh medication, and it can actually really cause some damage to your body over an elongated period of time. It has made me ill a couple of times, and I also struggle with it, knowing that I'll be on it more longer term, especially because if I ever choose to personally carry children, I can't actually be on it while doing so, which has been really conflicting to me as well. People also often assume that I randomly fall over or fall asleep or will fall asleep while driving, but actually that is the cataplexy portion, and I don't have that, so I am still able to drive. With this all being said, though, I do have a lot of feelings about living in today's America with this disability. We live in a very fast-paced society that really prioritizes success and achievement and independence, and I have a disability that recommends me taking daily naps and sticking to a really regulated sleep schedule and really lessening the stress that's on my body. And honestly, I can say that graduate school and holding an assistantship and various other jobs has made this almost virtually impossible. Those around me do hold a high level of expectation for me because I am naturally really somewhat a overachiever. I put it on myself. I do push myself more than honestly was often expected, but I've always been this way. long before I knew I had narcolepsy. And the struggle now is, I do have this disability, and expectations haven't really changed. They're without regard to my condition. And I've had countless days where I sit in pure frustration because I feel like I'm a really driven person stuck in a really tired body. I'll set goals for myself each day, and I'm lucky if I finish half of them by the end of the day because I'm just so tired. And, over the past couple of years, I have actually disclosed my diagnosis to some professionals. And sometimes I feel like it hasn't actually been seen as a concern or taken seriously because, again, I am still achieving at that high level. And while I don't want to be looked at differently for my diagnosis, I do appreciate when support is given, knowing that I am dealing with it every day. Because honestly, I regularly envy people who say they can't have coffee after 6 p.m. because it'll keep them up all night. Because I haven't really felt that awake in years. And I have to question what graduate school would have been like if I didn't have this diagnosis and how much easier it might have been. And I do recognize my own privilege. I know I was still able to pursue an education with this and really be involved in a lot of my other extracurricular activities. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to shed some light on what it can be like to live in America with an invisible disability. Because, a lot of times it's the lack of validation or belief or accommodation that can truly be enraging. Because people every day are dealing with things that we can't see or we don't understand, but that doesn't make their experience any less real. And so really, I just wanted to tell my story so that maybe we can, step back and recognize that we don't know everyone's stories, and that's okay, but we can still support them and listen to them when they are ready to share them. So thank you all for listening to my story today, and I hope that it really maybe brought something for you.